So it was about 1 o'clock in the morning, and my youth leaders had dropped my sister and I off at the church because they told us there was a family emergency. So they pulled us early from this church retreat. And my mom pulled up in the car with our pastor, and I could tell that she had been crying for a long time. And I knew in my heart of hearts that something like had terribly gone wrong. And she came out of the car, and she broke the news to us that my dad had committed suicide that night, and that we wouldn't be seeing him anymore. So I grew up in a Christian home. My mom and my dad were the most godly people that I know still to this day. So blessed to grow up with them, my brothers and my sisters. But my dad, I mean, everyone knew him in town. He was the high school math teacher. He was coach of like everything. So just being around that, really, I got really heavily into sports and just doing everything with him. I always was his shadow, just following him around, and me being the youngest, I was just, daddy's little girl or whatever. So I'd like to say that I knew him better than anyone else. So anything that made him happy made me happy, I got so much love from my parents and my family. I didn't really need anything else, like life as I knew it couldn't get better. So whenever I was about 12, my dad got remarried, and I started to notice a change in him a little bit that no one else really noticed. I feel like from just me being around him all the time, I noticed a change. But I remember praying for him specifically when I was 12, because I started to realize under the surface that he wasn't acting like the happy, life of the party that he was at home when we were by ourselves. And I remember praying, God, make him happy, I don't know what's wrong, but just change him, And then that's when the next day, I remember that's when my mom broke the horrible news to us that he had passed away and that he had committed suicide. And that right there was definitely the turning point for me. I definitely dealt with it in a really unexplainable way, really, from the rest of my family. My family was torn apart. Obviously, I was too, but definitely the faith and just the comfort of God came over me, knowing that I'd see Him in heaven again, and knowing that our life is so short that I would see Him what felt like would be tomorrow, in heaven. But no one else really seemed to grasp that and grasp that idea that I had, that I was 12, I was still really young and naive, but God totally sheltered me like that. But it was probably a month after my dad had passed away that I really started to feel that emptiness in my heart, that hole that my dad and my family definitely filled while he was there. And so after he'd gone, after it set in that he wasn't home when I came home from school, or he wasn't there to play with anymore, I really started to feel that hurt and that pain. And I knew, that was definitely God's blessing, that I knew the right answer, and I knew the right answer was God, that God was the only way to fill that up, and the only everlasting joy and love that could totally fill me up. Whereas my brother and my sister turned to drugs and alcohol, and I could definitely see that that was only temporary happiness, and it always left them unhappy, And that's totally it's totally when God just took me under His wing and took me under His hand, and started to form me into the woman that I know He created me to be, not the girl that my dad created me to be. But it was just so cool to see my gifts develop that He gave me, and those blessings develop, just through art and nature and sports and stuff, and just to be able to see Him inspire me every single day and fill me with His love and His joy and His blessings. I know that comes directly from Him, is so unexplainable and unlike any other joy I can ever imagine. And just living every day, the adventure that He planned out for me to live is so rad, just to be a part of that. You know, it's unlike anything else, and I'm so glad I'm not in charge of my life, that his adventure is so much better than anything we could ever dream up of. So I know that there's someone out there that's been affected by suicide like me, or is even contemplating committing suicide, but Jesus Christ is the only one that can fill that void, that emptiness inside of you, and he'll fill that with his love and his joy that's everlasting, and that it's just unlike anything else that you'll ever experience in life. What's up? I'm Brooke. This is my story. What's yours?